Hey guys, and welcome to the Dragon Ball Bros channel. It's been a bit of a slow week on the channel, mostly because it's been a pretty busy week for both of us Dragon Ball Bros, but here we are with another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from what we usually do, as I'm going to be doing post-commentary on some of my old matches. Now, I'm not really sure how long ago they're from, probably a season or two, and as you can see, I'm running a SAIYANS team, and I'm just kind of going through the equipment here in this video. Obviously, I'm not doing this live as I speak. It's going to be more of a discussion in anticipation of Saiyan Day. It's going to be a bit of a discussion on the Saiyan team itself and how the Saiyan team has shaped up, and you know what we're looking at with the tag, what improvements they've made, what improvements they can make, and what kind of stuff we can be looking at for the future. I'm going to be focused a little bit less on the actual PvP matches as I'm, playing around with the team, and going to have it more so as just a discussion as to what we can be looking at the future. Alright, so this must be a pretty old video if this is the Saiyan team that I'm running. It's pretty much a Goku team with Gogeta added in. Definitely not the current meta team that we have today. Missing units like the Yellow Vegeta, LF Super Saiyan 3. Those Saiyans, now that I think about it, is quite honestly fairly the Goku show right now. That might change with the future, but it is very Goku heavy. Now the units that I've brought in, I think, are still probably the best units for their respective colors for this team. Namek Goku, not a lot needs to be said about him. He's got the best Z ability. He's got a great Z ability. I don't know about the best Z ability, but one of the best Z abilities for Saiyans. Even his Zenkai ability, Blue Saiyans. There's so many powerful Blue Saiyans out there. No one can control the field as well as Namek Goku can. With his blue card in the hands of the right player, he can potentially be the best unit in the game. On the level of the likes of the broken units we have, like. Though I don't even know if you want to say that Namek Goku is not broken. There's definitely a case to be made there. But a unit that's on the level of the likes of 18 and Zenkai Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who we know are currently probably the two most problematic units right now. Now, Gogeta doesn't exactly buff Saiyans, but I think he's the best red option to bring. Obviously, he's an extremely powerful unit on his own. Again, being arguably top 3 unit. Or if not top 10, I don't think anyone would argue against as well. He doesn't buff Saiyans directly, but there really isn't any other option for Red Saiyans. I think Red Saiyans are what the Saiyan team is lacking probably the most right now. The next best option is probably Red Bardock. The issue with Red Bardock, though, is that his transformation conditions just suck. 40 timer counts for an ally dying. At that point, the game is probably already decided. And, don't get me wrong, transforming Bardock is very powerful, but I don't think he's powerful to the level of where he can turn that tide back in your favor against some of the other top meta units that we have. Maybe back when he was released, he would be capable of that, but at this point, Red Bardock isn't enough to carry your team or to make up for the fact that he needs a whole lot before he can really get to his powerful form. Now, as for who I think are the other ideal Saiyan units at this current time, which is, it's March 11th right now as I'm recording this. Green Super Saiyan 3 LF for sure for the green unit. We've got the red, blue, purple covered. For yellow is probably Saiyan's next weakest color. If you want a direct Saiyan buffer, I think the Vegeta that was just recently released with Boo is a good option, because he does a lot for the team. One, he's decently powerful himself, but he also provides them with damage buffs. He also provides healing. For Goku, he can nullify attribute downgrades. So. Oh, and he also gets type neutrality himself, so in tough situations he can also hold his own against type disadvantage. So I think that kind of rounds out where Saiyans is. Are they the best team in the current meta? No, not really. Now, they potentially could be if you add in another factor, and that is the Super Saiyan Bardock. Now, if you're running a Super Saiyan-based Saiyan team, then the story can kind of change, because Bardock supports are so powerful. But for the sake of where I want to go with this video, where I want to talk about, you know, Saiyans in general, I feel like Super Saiyan Bardock really limits the team to Saiyans who are Super Saiyans. Or, really, they don't necessarily have to be Saiyans, because, I mean, you could still run, you know, a unit like, you know, Super Saiyan Future Gohan, and still a very powerful combination. But without him, I still think the team is very good, but I think the team does need a little bit of extra oomph to compete with teams like Regeneration, to compete with androids. They still feel like they're a cut below. And now I know Saiyans are, you know, they're the main attraction units, they're the main characters of the game. People are going to summon on them regardless, so they don't necessarily need to be the most buff because they're the most popular. But I do feel like sometimes Saiyans get a lot of the short end of the stick sometimes. And what I mean by that is that their units are fairly kind of in the same area of, okay, hits hard, doesn't get hit super hard, has an ultimate. That's kind of about it. There's nothing that I really feel like, oh shit, when I see a Saiyan, right? The closest really is, I mean, I'm pretty biased, so I think UI Goku is one of the most oppressive units, just because of all the, you know, the unique gauge, the cover changes, green card, ability to take away your buffs. So I think he's one of those, he's a very unique unit, but I feel like a lot of them kind of fall into the same type of category. I'm not sure if that makes sense to anyone else, or that's just me kind of thinking oddly. But I feel like they don't have that same feeling that, you know, a team like Regen has, that can, you know, have this unlimited healing, it feels like, or have the ability to take away Dragon Balls. You have all these units inflicting debuffs and stealing Dragon Balls, controlling the Rising Rush, or even like androids where you've got like pretty much a perfect color wheel that all complement each other. You've got, I mean, you've just got 18, and that enough is to say, like, you know, god damn this team. Or, I mean, I really like the Dragon Ball team, because, though granted I don't use them that often, just because they do a whole lot of different things. What I'm trying to say is that Saiyans kind of seems to be kind of like the, okay, this is kind of what they expect. You're going to have a powerful unit, they'll be okay tanking, and that's kind of really about it. I don't feel like they're really control the game in too many other places other than a few key characters, and unfortunately they're all like Zenkais or like hard to pull LFs, right? And another big thing is the fact that they don't have their own like red unit. As I mentioned, I don't think Bardock quite cuts it. In fact, I'd probably say even bring like the Super Saiyan Blue Goku instead of the Bardock. He'd probably be a better fit, especially since this team has so many Gokus. At least he'll buff some of them, right? But I think they could definitely benefit from a solid red unit. Now, as for who I would have assumed the next red unit for Saiyans would be, probably, if I had to bet, I would have placed my bet on Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. I feel like he'll probably come before the anniversary. Yeah, probably before the anniversary, and he'd be a good pick to be a red unit who, you know, fulfills the role for God Key and also for Saiyans. For a unit that would be very powerful and could also, you know, provide a substantial buff to the Saiyan team. Now we have Rose coming out, and if he's red, that's probably going to axe the red Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta theory I have, but we'll see what happens. Now, speaking of Saiyan Day, we kind of already have an idea of what to expect. I think the main thing for Saiyans for Saiyan Day that would have happened has already happened, and that's the Zenkai of the LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And, you know, for a minute, let's just take a moment to appreciate how well that was done. He got, I think, just close to as perfect of a buff as possible, just in the sense that He's not stupid, broken, they didn't make him utterly ridiculous, but they gave him exactly what he needed to be a top level unit that you can feel comfortable bringing into a fight. And like I said, Zenkai, or like I've said before, that's what Zenkai should be. They should be older units that you kind of bring back to meta relevancy, but not to the point where they're meta defining. Also, in addition to Saiyans, I feel like there's a lot of anti-Saiyan units around. I mean, especially, you know, you've got 18, you've got all these Friezas running around, you've got Broly, LF Broly, who himself is a Saiyan, who's anti-Saiyan. And I feel like the Saiyan team doesn't exactly have a whole lot of that. And I understand it, you know, they're the most popular characters, so there's going to be a bit of an incentive to pull other units, and if you're seeing a lot of Saiyans running around and you see units that can kind of, you know, challenge these units, you're more likely going to pull for them. So I 100% understand why, you know, they're put in that position, but I would like to see, I mean, not just in terms of giving Saiyans these anti-whatever buffs, but maybe for some other units. Maybe have, you know, like a Trunks that's anti-androids. Androids is more oppressive than any team right now, right? So we could use some good anti-androids teams. The only one I think we have is the old green Future Gohan. And I can't remember if the red Trunks is, I think he's anti-regen, though, not androids. Now, there are some anti-regen teams, anti-regen characters out there. So I'm not going to say that, okay, like, we need more anti-regen. I think we have enough there. But I feel like Saiyans, in that case, kind of get a little bit more of the hate. So if you're a Saiyan main, you know, sometimes kind of sucks to run up against a team that's completely anti your team. But that's the name of the game, right? You know, ultimately, Saiyans are always going to be a meta-relevant or a very powerful team. Just because even if they don't directly buff Saiyans, there's so many powerful Saiyans that are eventually going to come out. We still don't have units like a Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, like I mentioned, UI Goku, maybe like a Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Goku, transforming Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta still has to come out, who technically fits on the Saiyans as well. If they decide to do collabs with Dragon Ball Heroes, we could see a whole other, you know, universe opened of Saiyan characters. So it's not like there's a lack of Saiyan characters. It's just I would like to also see them do a little bit more, something a little bit more different with Saiyans, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like something's still missing with Saiyans. And I guess as someone who loves the team, I would like to see them be, I guess, even more oppressive than they are. Or to really, you know, if I'm using a team filled with, you know, like a UI Goku and all of Super Saiyan 3 and Super Gogeta, not to feel like they're, you know, there's 5-6 other teams that are better than them, while some of these units are actually pretty new, right? So as for what I think the future holds for this team, I mean, it's Saiyans. They're always going to be relevant. There's always going to be hype Saiyan units coming out. I think the anniversary is probably leading us to Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. I'm kidding. I mean Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. But wouldn't that be funny if they just called the Super Saiyan 4 Vegito on us? I think likely Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I think other than Mastered UI Goku, he's probably he's not just UI Goku. Other than him, the Super Saiyan 4 I'm on the Vegito train. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is probably the last remaining super hype unit that has not already been put into the game. So I think he's kind of what is left, and I think, you know, with the GT tag really falling far behind, I think within the next couple of months, what I'm hoping and what I'm expecting to see is we're gonna get, you know, some Zenkais. It might not be the Super Saiyan 4s. If I had to say alternatives, let me clarify and say that it should be the Super Saiyan 4s. I don't think Regen or Powerful Opponents needs the extra boost just yet. with a Red Omega or like a Sin Shenron just yet. And we've already got Super Saiyans running a flock, so the next best options or next best candidates would probably be the Super Saiyan, Yellow Super Saiyan Vegeta and the Green Super Saiyan Goku, who will be absolute demons with Zenkai boosts, or sorry, with their Zenkais and boosts from Bardock. Kid Goku could be a good option to Zenkai. I don't think him alone would bring, you know, the meta back to relevancy, but I think he'd be a good option to pick for a unit that's pretty old, could use the buffs, and won't break the game. If I'm being completely honest, I kind of hope Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta do get their Zenkai and they're busted as shit, because I love those units. But if I had to, you know, place a bet, I would say that, you know, Super Saiyan 4s are probably coming, or their Zenkais are probably coming sooner rather than later. Not soon as in, you know, within the next couple weeks, but maybe around time of anniversary or closer to anniversary. And that's probably likely where we'll see Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as well. Now I know this has turned into a GT discussion at the end, but I think that just goes to show how, you know, even though Saiyans aren't the most oppressive, they're not the most meta team right now, they're all kind of at the top but not the top units. They're just it's a tag that's going to be kind of relevant in majority of other teams as well. That being said, I would really like to see a absolute mind-blowing, crushing Super Saiyan character. Maybe not to the point of stupidity like Gohan, but eventually we're going to have to reach that point. Will it be Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta who reaches that point? I'm not sure. To be honest, I wouldn't count on it, but we'll have to see what the future holds. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to my long-ass rant about Saiyan's team that may have been completely nonsensical and completely unorganized, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. I do appreciate you guys sticking around to listen, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If, you know, you liked the video, a like is always appreciated. If you feel like subscribing, you know I said I'm going to try to pump out content every day, and I haven't really lived up to that promise yet. I will not going to make that promise again right now, but I am definitely going to try to get more videos out soon, and be able to live up to that promise of daily videos. I've got a lot of stuff recorded and even somewhat edited, but it's been very hectic to try to get stuff out there right now. But yeah, again, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.